Hi, this is Melanie at Pardesi Reviews. I'm here to do a spoiler-full review of Master. If you're new to Pardesi Reviews, I do trailer reactions and film reviews of Indian cinema. Theaters here in my area are completely closed. Vijay's film Master did not play anywhere, and I was desperate to see it. So thank you to the person who put me in contact with the producers of the film, who allowed me to see the film. It will be coming to streaming soon. I did a spoiler-free review. If you haven't had a chance to see the film, don't spoil it by watching this review. Watch my previous video where I just tell you how much I love the film without giving any of the fun things away that you'll enjoy seeing the film for the first time. This is going to be, I did more of a full discussion of what I really, an overview of the film, but I was very careful to not give anything away about the characters, about certain specific scenes, really, and that's what this video is going to be about. I really admire Lokesh Kanagaraj, the director. After I watched the film for the first time, I've seen Master twice now. After the first time I watched his extensive over an hour interview with Bhagyaraj on Film Companion. And thank you Film Companion for subtitling that interview, because it gave me so much insight into Lokesh's thinking about the film. He described it as 50% Lokesh, 50% Vijay. He is aware he's making a star film and he has to do certain things for the audience, but there's certain touches that are just Lokesh. And I think he did a really good balance. I'd love to know what you thought in the comments below. I really enjoyed Lokesh's film Kaiti starring Kartik. I thought that was just a wonderful thrill ride of a film. I'm a big Vijay fan, but I'm also a big Vijay Sethupathi fan. And just having all of this talent together in one project, amazing. So I think Vijay, as a star, took a real leap. And Lokesh talked about this in the interview, playing an alcoholic character. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. I was not expecting that. And the fact that his name was JD, which stood for Jack Daniels, wow. I mean, really, if you think about it, the whole first half of the film, he's drunk most of the time. It's like he can't even remember, it's Charu, his colleague who applies for him to be the teacher at the reformatory school, or observation home or whatever it's called. But he's like, Nasser says, well, could it have happened after 6 p.m.? Because evidently that's when he drinks. I do love his introduction. It just reminded me, I don't know, like of Rajnikant or something, because we just see his shoes, and then we see his chest, and we slowly see him little bit by little bit. And then I do love that whole introduction. I thought that was amazing. So picture me alone in my family room going, woo, like up by myself. I really miss being in the theater first day, first show for this. It must have been amazing. After all these months of theaters being closed, it must have been amazing to see this film in India with an audience. I loved the introduction of Vijay Sethupathi character. He essentially had a superhero origin story. There was so much mirroring of how he was made to take on the guilt of these people that had killed his parents and be sent, and he then does that to all these other boys, and how he loved the punching of the wall and how he just gained strength over time. The young actor that played him as a teen, I thought was amazing. They used Vijay Sethupathi's voice modulated to make it sound younger, but I immediately recognized that Vijay was dubbing for those parts. But I thought this young actor really had that same Vijay Sethupathi intensity. Oh my goodness, all of those violent scenes where Vijay's about to kill somebody, give me 2 minutes, and he just is so soft-spoken, and he has the quality of being so menacing. Whoa, amazing. I kind of relished all of those scenes, and I love how they stretched out Vijay and Vijay finally meeting until the very end. Wasn't that scene where Vijay doesn't realize that he has got Vijay Sethupathi by the neck, but because he's behind him and he doesn't. That was Lokesh, like, hats off to you. That was an amazing scene. I love that they had that confrontation, And then it wasn't until the end in the meat factory that they have the full-on fight. Oh my gosh, my husband came running because when Vijay Sethupathi punched his way through the meat carcass, I yelped and he was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Yeah, if you're gonna set a scene in a fight in a meat factory, you know somebody's gonna end up on a meat hook. I'm glad they didn't make it too gory and bloody. So I really admired that Vijay shared screen time with Vijay Sethupathi, because I feel like it's more compelling for the hero to have a really challenging villain, a really strong villain for him to go, it's like sometimes I'm not satisfied when I see a mass film and the villain isn't that much for the hero to take care of, right? And this was really a challenge. And their fight, like Vijay takes a punch and then takes his shirt off and you can see the bruise, and blood coming out of his mouth, he really has to fight for it. I love that his bracelet was what brought Vijay Sethupathi down, and also how it was used in the scene with the little boy. Oh my gosh, that little kid, it was amazing. How he puts it on and it goes all the way to and he has all this swagger coming out before the comedy. Oh. So yeah, I thought that was very clever, how he had all the doctors and everything and the people cutting the hair, but he also had the dentist come in and test all of Arjun and all of those other boys and confirmed that they were older than they should have been to be in the reform home. And so then he felt like he could go after them in the comedy game. I thought that was also... There were so many fight sequences that I felt like they were fresh. They weren't the same thing that I've seen with, leaves fluttering in the air and whatever. Each one was filmed so interestingly. The one in the metro train where the guy bing bong boom, as he hits the different poles in the scene. Just so many clever moments in fight sequences that made this film really fun to rewatch and treasure and notice more little things. I loved all the references to old films, be people singing a song or music in the background or whatever. Rakes who did the subtitles, put those references in the subtitles for me. Even if I didn't recognize every film, I could tell they were referencing something, and I thought that was very cool. To me, that felt like Quentin Tarantino. Lokesh was kind of honoring so many other heroes. I mean, I think there's even a reference to Ajit. I love the Titanic reference at the end where Dash just walks off. Really fun. I love that Lokesh himself has a little cameo over the credit sequence, so don't walk out. You need to watch that little part at the end. It's almost like watching a Marvel movie where you have to watch the credit sequence to see the fun part. Oh my gosh, Arjun Das and that voice. From the beginning, I'm like, this kid has to be over 18. There's no way. There's no way. Wow, what a voice. Yeah, I remember him from Kaiti. I love that he was also, a good foil for Vijay for a lot of the film. I think this film had a lot of good messages too. Sometimes it felt a little preachy, but it was a good message. He does, I liked how Vijay said, I'm not going to tell you why I started drinking. I'm going to tell you why I quit. I really liked that scene. I thought Vijay was exceptional in that very emotional scene where he reads the letter in the jail. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I talked about that in my other review, but how the whole fight sequence, Lokesh wanted him to have tears in his eyes, and they filmed it for 5 days with glycerin. Wow, the dedication, I tell you. I love that he not only shared screen time with Vijay Sethupathi, allowing so much of the development of the villain character, but that little kid. Oh my God. The scene where Vijay is helpless because Charu is calling him and she's being chased by the goons and she has the camera, and it's the little kid is like, turn the phone around, let me see. And because he had the tattoo, he's this little 9-year-old boss. Oh my God. And Vijay is just sitting there like, how are you doing this? I ate that scene up with a spoon. It was so awesome. I love that. That was super fun. I mentioned in the other video that I thought the cinematography was really great. I loved the golden sun on Vijay and his team in the Kabaddi game, and then the Das and the other ones were more in shadow. Really nice touches there, really beautiful. Really interesting use. Lokesh talked about the color palette and people's clothes and how much care they put into that. I can tell, Lokesh is such an interesting filmmaker. He thinks a lot about his film. He wanted to have so much mirroring. I think there's quite a few homages to Vijay's fans. There's one particular scene where he tells one of the villains, like, I've got his rakes subbed it. I have zillions of people behind me around the world. And I know that was another homage to his fans. Now, I'm wondering if fans were upset that there wasn't really that much of a romance track. I didn't feel the loss of it. I really enjoyed that one sort of love song where I felt like she was falling in love with him more for his actions. I guess the lyrics of the song talk about his swagger and the way he walks and all of that. But to me, it was that she was seeing his kindness with the boys and she was admiring him for that and falling in love with him for that. I'd love to know your thoughts about this movie in the comments below. I'm so thankful that I was able to see it. From what I understand, it will be coming to a streaming service, but it's going to play in theaters for a while in India. So I don't know exactly the timing of that. It could be a month or a little bit more until other people are able to see it on streaming. I'm so thankful that I was able to see it now. Thank you to the people that made this possible. I really appreciate it so much because, oh boy, with all that's going on with COVID, this was really fun to be able to see a fully mass Vijay film. Follow me on Twitter at PardesiYT. I'm launching on Instagram. Please follow me there at Pardesi Reviews. Subscribe here to Pardesi Reviews. And if you hit the bell when you subscribe, you'll never miss another trailer reaction or film review.